In this series of videos, we'll look at the flows report and talk about how to filter flows, interpret the results, and dig deeper into flow details. The focus will be primarily on the Orchestrator flows report, as opposed to the more basic flows report you can access on the EdgeConnect appliance web interface. The Orchestrator's report is much more feature-rich and can combine results across multiple EC appliances simultaneously. In Part 1, we'll examine the filters at the top of the report. Part 2 will look at the columns available in the results table. Part 3 is all about the results themselves and how to interpret them. And Parts 4 and 5 will cover the flow detail pop-up, which contains a wealth of information about a flow. When you first open Monitoring Active and Recent Flows, by the way, I'll refer to it just as Monitoring Flows or the Flows report for ease. When you first open it, you'll be presented with an array of filtering options. Note that your cursor pops right into the IP subnet filter, so without any further mouse movement, you can type in a subnet or host IP and press enter for quick and easy filtering. The most commonly used filters are highlighted: the IP subnet field, application or port, whether you want active, ended, or both types of flows, and the byte count. These will cover most situations where you want to track how a flow is handled for a particular client IP address. Note that filters are added together using AND logic, so the more filters you add, the fewer results you will see. Also, you can see flows from whichever appliance, appliances, or appliance groups you select on the tree. Where you have multiple appliances selected, the appliance name column shows you which appliance has that flow. Let's go through the available filters, starting from the top left. Application. Select the text field and a drop-down list is shown. You can either scroll to find what you're looking for, or just start typing the name of the application to make a match. App group. Here you can choose from a number of pre-defined groups or custom groups, as per the Config Application Groups page. Again, scroll or type to match the one you're interested in. Role. If you're using ClearPass, for example, you can filter on role-based flows. Username. Similar to role, you can filter on flows where the username has been identified. IP/subnet. You can enter either an individual host IP, /32 is assumed, or you can enter a network ID with or without /mask to return everything in a given subnet. Optionally, tick source:\dest to create a filter between a host pair. Port, the TCP or UDP port number. You can only enter a single value here. Ranges and wildcards are currently not supported, but you can also choose a source and destination port as well. Segment. Where you are using the segmentation feature, you can filter based on those names. Zone. Similarly to segments, if you are using the zone-based firewall feature, you can filter on the zone names. VLAN. If you have sub-interfaces, you can choose their IDs as a filter. DSCP. You can filter flows marked with certain DSCP values. Protocol. As with the application filter, you can click in the box and choose from the drop-down list or type in directly to make a match. Domain. If domain information is available, you can filter on this too. In busier networks, the number of flows returned with a simple query may reach the 10,000 flow limit easily, so you can use one or more filters to find what you're looking for, or perhaps choose to report on fewer appliances simultaneously. If you reach 10,000 results, you'll probably be missing some flows, so keep that in mind. Moving on, we have additional filters. Overlay lets you choose to filter based on the overlay flows were matched to. Transport allows you to see just flows taking particular paths, for example between sites over the SD-WAN, or only those breaking out to the internet. Note that the breakout filter will also include other internet-based services, such as Zscaler. Next, we have the Flow Characteristics section. This allows you to specify other attributes. Boosted shows only those flows which used the boost feature for WAN acceleration. directly attached, is for flows originating from or destined to the same subnet as any of the EC's interfaces. IPS dropped reports flows that the intrusion prevention system dropped by policy. Pass-through matches any flows that did not match any overlay policy. Typically, you won't see anything here other than IPSLA flows or third-party tunnels if you have the Include Built-in option ticked. Slow devices is an attempt to show any clients that may have higher than usual LAN-side latency, which can cause performance degradation. Route dropped is for flows that could not find an onward route in config routes or unavailable breakout policy destination, for example. Firewall dropped matches flows that are dropped by zone-based firewall policy. Embryonic is any flows that are in a state of formation, such as TCP where the three-way handshake hasn't completed. Asymmetric shows flows that are known to be active, but the appliance is only seeing packets in one direction. Include Edge HA means show the flows between the two appliances. Include Built-in will show any flows created by the appliance itself, such as the flow to the Orchestrator, the cloud portal, any DNS queries, third-party IPsec tunnels, and IPSLA flows. These two options are unticked by default. Lastly, we have the filters at the bottom. Active means show me the flows that are live now and were started either any time or in the last minutes, hours, or a custom time period. Ended gives you a list of flows that are no longer active. You can use one, other, or both together. Note that the flow history is limited to no more than 24 hours, maybe less on busier appliances. You can try using custom time periods, but you may not get any results if the flows have aged out. You can also choose to show only flows with a certain duration. Bytes is an interesting one. By default, it's set to show you just the last 5 minutes. Change it to total if you want to see how much data each flow has transmitted or received over its lifetime. If you're looking for your top talkers, you'll see different results for 5 minutes versus total. Replication flows, for example, typically survive for many days, and will typically be the largest values if you choose total. But perhaps you want to see who's been most active in the last 5 minutes, which might be something or someone else. Next, we have a tiny clock icon and arrow buttons next to it. This is the equivalent of the back and forward buttons in your browser, but specifically for searches. Each time you filter and click Apply, that search is stored. You can then click the back and forward buttons to return and rerun old searches without having to retype them. And on that topic, the last filter option here is named Filter. There are several filter presets available to run common types of searches, or you can create your own by clicking the pencil icon to save the current filters as a new preset. The circular arrow is the Apply or Refresh button, and it runs the report based on the filters you have chosen. Clear removes all filters. In Part 2, we'll look at the columns available in the results table. Move on to Part 3 for a look at the results, and Part 4 for the per flow detail pop-up.